Hey guys, we are so excited to be out here at Blanket Fort Hope. As you can see, it is under construction and we get to tour this awesome home.
It's an amazing project that we're going to carry you through the entire phase. Next, you're going to see the completion of this home, and then we will go through their phases as they build everything else. So I hope you'll join us.
Let's go. Hey, we're out with Kim Mashego at Blanket Fort Hope, and I'm going to let Kim introduce herself and tell us a little bit about Blanket Fort Hope.
Hi, I'm Kim Mashego. I am the program director for Blanket Fort Hope, and Blanket Fort Hope is a home where young ladies who have been rescued from trafficking can come and live and receive services for restoration. But not only young ladies, we also have a program for young men. So young men, children, young men and young women ages 0 to 21 can have a place to live in our foster homes. So they will not be living here on campus, but they will be living in the community with foster families, because we know that any child, male or female of any age, could be at risk of being trafficked.
What's going to go on for them to get here?
We will receive a call. Typically, the calls that we've received already have been from our hospitals, emergency rooms, from law enforcement, from our juvenile court judge. We've even had a parent to call and say that her child was involved in trafficking and needed a safe place to come and receive services to be restored back to the community.
No one wants to really think about that, but it is all around us, and we're so glad that there's somewhere that these girls and boys can go.
Yes, and I know, when we've talked before, we've talked about a lot of times our community when you think of human trafficking, you may think of a white van, driving up next to you and snatching a child, which can certainly happen. Or we may think about this will happen in another country, and that can definitely happen. But the children that we will be serving are children from our very own community here in Shelby County and also across the state of Alabama. So it's happening in our communities, it happens in our churches, it happens in our schools, so much so that there is a need for a place like Blanket Fort Hope to exist.
Gotcha. Well, what as a community can we do to help you?
That's a great question.
I thought you would like it.
It is a great question because the reason I am attracted to Blanket Fort Hope is several reasons. But one reason is that this is a home that our community built. We are debt-free here. Everything that you see has been provided by the community, by the hand of God through our community.
That's amazing.
And so we have had opportunities for individual landscapers to come out, for church small groups to come out and do landscaping, opportunities, painters, anyone in the field of business. Just last week we were at a church and we had a gentleman who is a sewer engineer, and he agreed to come out and do some work on our homes. Not only adults, but we have opportunities for our youth to come out and learn what it is to serve other children as well. And in February, on February 27th, we have our yearly fundraiser coming up. It's the gala, and that's our 10-year anniversary. So it's the Restoring Hope Gala, and that will be held on February 27th at The Club.
The Club.
The Club in Birmingham. It is a beautiful time. It's a fun time to get dressed up for a purpose. Dressed up to come out and support a cause, to make sure that we'll have this home finished, so that young women who are, like I said before, we've had to tell mothers, we've had to tell a doctor, police officer, that we can't take a child right now because our home is not finished. And so with the help of the community, we can open our doors and be ready to serve these young women when they come in from trafficking.
I would like to know, so we can share with everyone, where did you get Blanket Fort Hope?
That is $1 million question.
Because I love that logo.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us today. We're just thrilled to be a part of community, and it always thrills us, so thank you for having us.
Yes.
So a lot of people, I'm Alexa Lycus James, and I'm the CEO and founder of Blanket Fort Hope, and we are 10 years old this year, so we have a lot of celebrations going on. So a lot of people ask me why Blanket Fort Hope, because it is a mouthful.
It is.
It is. So I have 2 boys, and they're 6'5" and 6'4". They got their height from their mother. And when one of them was little, Alexander, he used to love to build forts. And so we had an upstairs and downstairs. Now, Alex was always going to be in the Army. He loved guns, and he loved Star Wars and Star Trek. And so we would have these elaborate blanket forts that would go downstairs. And
your house was covered in them.
It was covered. Like, it was very elaborate. And so I would have to have passwords, and if I didn't, I would be shot, like by the little stormtroopers that, you know, like for real. And I got so tired of being shot all the time. And so I would have my little password, and it usually was food, and I would literally lay on a box to get down the stairs so I didn't mess up the blanket fort.
That's awesome.
There was so many more blanket fort stories, but I did ask Alex at some point, what did he love about his blanket forts, like as he grew up? And he said, I just always felt safe in them. And he said, I didn't think anybody could see me in my blanket fort. And of course I was, as a mother, were like, well, you didn't feel safe at all. And he said yes. And so that always really stuck with me. And then as I started looking into this, it just made sense, because a fort is a place of safety anyway. And it's a place where you have planted your flag, and it's your Army, Navy, or whoever is planted around you. And you've got to break through that fort to get to these kids. And so our blanket fort has a name, and it's Hope.
Well, and you think about any kids growing up in that younger age, that is true. That is how they hid and either got away from another sibling, or I'm over you, Mom, and I'm hiding here, or whatever. So it makes total sense.
And a lot of imagination going on, a lot of creativity in this, you know, and that's what we see here. A lot of happy, a lot of creativity, a lot of safety that comes with the name Fort.
Yes.
You know, and so that is who we are. We're a place of safety for child survivors of human trafficking.
So I have one more cool story that Kim, that met with us originally, kind of told us about, and I think it's really cool to attach to what you just said. So I hear that maybe fundraising started with lemonade?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So years ago, we literally started with zero, and just let me say, we are $1.3 million debt-free to this day. And so it was always very important to me that we did not owe money, so that everything we did would go to our girls.
Yes.
And so my dad built a lemonade stand for me that has our logo on it, and it has little curtains on it, and I would lug that thing all over the state of Alabama in my little cart, and it had fresh lemonade in it and ice and cups. I would take it to all the national nights out. I would take it to any event at a church, just wherever anybody would have me. And I started raising money, but more importantly, I could talk about Blanket Fort Hope and who we were. So it gave me opportunities where children wanted to be a part of it, so I knew that they would bring their parents.
Right.
And so I was able to, with my homemade brochure that we'll never show to other people anymore, I was able to talk about who we were, what the need was, and why. In our state, the problem that we were having, and it was hard for people to hear, but the lemonade stand brought an element to the story that was happy.
Yes.
And so I was able to start raising money, $1 at the time, or literally 50 cents at the time.
So I think it just reminds us that the simplest things in life is what really makes the dreams come true.
It is, and I think when you have heart behind what you're doing, and you have such a deep belief in the project that you're working on, you can't ever misunderstand that.
No,
you just can't.
You can't.
And we knew that there was a grave need for child survivors, and we had a lot for women. I had started another agency working with women and interviewed over 200 women, and quickly came to understand that all of them had been trafficked as children.
Yeah, I mean, it starts
somewhere.
Yeah, they just didn't wake up one morning as an adult and was in that situation. It really started somewhere else. Well, I love your stories. I know you're going to take us on a journey of everything that's going to happen. So let's move on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so clearly we're in progress for construction at this point. What's your percentage of completion at this point in time?
So we're about 80% complete, but really about 90%. We're down to getting insulation in, and everything's been approved, checked. Water's in. We're waiting on insulation, flooring, cabinets.
And I guess we didn't discuss this earlier, but how large is the campus?
73 beautiful acres.
Wow,
Yes,
okay.
so we have room for expansion. We'll be building 7 more houses. They'll be
Fantastic.
smaller, but 7 more.
Yeah, what's the capacity for this facility?
This facility will house 9 girls and a set of house parents, so it's 10 bedrooms.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the other structures are going to be larger, smaller?
They'll be
or-
smaller. There'll be 5 bedrooms. They'll be like a step down because we envision seeing our girls go to college or some kind of technical school. And it is just a beautiful location. We are very excited. It's a very unique home. We feel like that we are just set apart because each girl, will show you, that has their own bedroom and their own bathroom. We have a tornado shelter that's built in the house, which we think is amazing. We have 2 offices that is housed in this location for social work and staff that will be here all night. Our rooms are ADA compliant. We have house parent suite, which means they have their own den, their own bedroom, their own washer and dryer, and their own bathroom. So we really built this so that each child would have a family experience, and they would be
Self-sufficiency.
coming in where they felt like they were in just another home or a group home.
Or a burden.
Or that they were a burden. We want you to
Absolutely.
know that they are loved and they are valued so much so that they have their own room and own bedroom.
Now, one thing that I thought was interesting when I walked to the front door here, and I don't think we've talked about it yet, is that you are actively encouraging people that set foot inside this facility
Yes.
to leave their mark. That'll be encapsulated with the drywall and the insulation and all that on all the studs.
That's right.
And so I noticed that there's some Bible scripture on the studs over here, as well as some reference to John over
Yes.
here. And do you have a favorite passage so far?
Oh, so there's so many favorite passages, but I love Isaiah where it talks about the oaks and that beauty from ashes, and that it is our job to help those who've been hurt. That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here just to make a living. We're here to help people who are being hurt. And that God will redeem those children. And we know that He will. And those Bible verses are here, and that God has a plan and a purpose here for these children. And Bible verses are on every inch of this building. As a matter of fact, one of our board members brought a 100-year-old Bible that is buried in the cornerstone of this building.
Fantastic.
And before we even put one shovel on this land, we started bringing people out here to pray over the land. And so we actually have prayer rocks that have Bible verses that will be all over this property, that are at the front of the property now, that people just come in, they write a prayer on a rock, and we spray them for protection. And these kids could be walking around and be like, what is that? And they'll know that before they were ever even thought of their name, that we were praying for them, that somebody was here praying for that child for their safety. And we're praying now that God will give these children hope, that somebody's coming for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and so anyway, thank y'all so much for visiting the house.
Thank you
It's been
for
so
letting us come
exciting
out
having
here.
y'all
Thank you for
here,
having us. It's been amazing.
for us to be a part of your community, and thank you.
Yeah, we couldn't have asked for a more amazing
Thank you.
afternoon to make us know that community is more than us finding houses or building houses or whatever. It's about what we talked about today.
Yeah. Well, we're right there with you. We believe that. So much so, this is what we're doing. We've committed our life to it. So,
And can you not have a more perfect view from this porch?
it's beautiful. It's so soothing. It's 73 gorgeous acres of just, I always said this is where Bambi lives. It's so beautiful. It just reminds me of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. We really appreciate all your time.